The time being 7 o'clock and a quorum of the Conservation Commission being present, I hereby call this meeting to order of September 15th, 2021. First on the agenda is approval of minutes. We don't have any minutes for July 14th, August 11th, or September 1st, so we will skip that. All right, now agenda item A is request for certificate of compliance, 10 Wells Drive, map 9, lot 87, Daniel and Barbara A. Ulietta, DEP number, file number 305756. Is there anybody here to speak about that?
Mr. Chairman, I think I got it right, Cleveland.
I believe that's correct. Not seeing anybody approach. Are you Daniel? All right. But you don't want to? No. All right. All right. So I think this is pretty standard. Does any of the commission members have any comments you'd like to discuss?
No comments.
All right.
I have none. I think the conservation, you had gone out there and everything looks good.
I conducted a site visit in accordance with the as-built plan. It showed a wetland replication area, sort of, I believe, east of the 10 Wells Drive property. A very small portion of that, according to the as-built, went onto the 10 Wells Drive property. However, the as-built noted it was approximate. Based on the site visit, it seemed like the wetland replication area was attempted. There was wetland plants within that area, so I believe it's appropriate that the 10 Wells Drive property was in compliance with this.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, with his statement, I'll make a motion to approve the request for certificate of compliance, 10 Wells Drive, map 9, lot 87, Daniel and Barbara A. Ulietta, DEP 305756.
Second.
All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor, please vote by saying nay. Nobody said nay. I also vote aye as well. The motion passes. So thank you for coming. All right, next on the agenda is request for certificate of compliance and performance bond release, Robbie Terrace Way, Tewksbury Village Condominium, LLC, DEP number, file number 305943.
Commissioner, do we need to call Dennis back in? Or is he
Oh, yeah, can you call him back in? Last time, we took a while to do that. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Dick Cuco from Woodland Design, representing the applicant.
Joe Laliberti, I'm the developer.
Thank you for coming.
You have some plans in there, Mr. Chairman, but Joe had asked us to highlight the buffer zone, so if your permission, I'll pass out a sheet that has those colored for you.
Please do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So the subject property, you see, you know that there's a second DEP number, and I'll explain that now so that when we get to the next one, you'll remember and understand what's going on here. The original order of conditions was for the entire site, which consisted of the 7 lots and the new roadway and the drainage and so forth. Along the way, the last lot was beyond the 3-year period, and an extension wasn't able to be filed because we had already told the 3 years by about a month. So Stefania had us file an additional separate notice of intent for that particular lot. But basically, everything has been completed in accordance with the provisions of the order of conditions. You recall that we were back here several times, and we were going back and forth waiting for a final resolution from the DPW and the town engineer. Town engineer had us do a few extra items out there that we consider belt and suspenders, but at the end of the day, we achieved what he was asking for. So I believe you have a copy of his letter dated September 3rd, 2021 in your packet, where he recommends release by the planning board, and any performance bond guarantee may be that are posted for the project. They usually don't copy the commission on it. It's always something that your board traditionally waits till we get the final sign off from DPW and engineering. So that's why we've been prolonging this thing for quite some time. The open space deeds were given to the town about 2 or 3 years ago, and there's consists of 2 parcels. There's a small parcel down here, and then a large parcel in the back. So that was deeded to the town at least 3 years ago, and so that satisfies the condition that was one part of the National Heritage condition that was put on the property. And I know the town is in possession of those, but I sent a copy to Joe the other day just for the record. Any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them.
Any members have any questions?
I have no questions.
No questions.
No questions.
Is this the one that a endangered turtle was spotted there? Is this another? No?
No.
All right, I'm thinking of something else then.
To that note, the project did involve involvement with NHESP. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only condition that we had from Natural Heritage was to convey the open space to the town, and they wanted us, when we originally put the silt fences in, we had to overlap them so that any crawlers could get from one point to the other. So when we put the original silt fences in, they overlapped like about by 20 feet, so that there was a gap so that they could get by the silt fence in there. And then the other thing was that they didn't want it mowed until September of each year, which is something that the DPW knows about as part of their proposal. But so they just said mow it, the open space area and detention basin once a year, and in September. So.
Yeah, my question when we had communicated was just regarding the open space conveyance. That was just supposed to be communicated with NHESP as well.
Yeah.
So was that?
Yeah, that was like 3 years ago.
Okay, so that was given to NHESP?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, other than that, during my site visit, everything was in compliance with the as-built.
All right. I will entertain a motion to approve the, actually, should we take these separately because it's a bond release and a certificate of compliance? I'm not sure. Pat, do you have any idea?
So the request for certificate of compliance and the performance bond is for the entire Tewksbury Village condominium, where the other one is specifically for 15 Robbie Terrace Way. So you could take the two as one,
All right.
because the next one underneath that identifies a specific address.
Yeah, all right. All right. So I will entertain a motion to approve the certificate of compliance and,
I just want to double check that because I think there might have been when there was transfer, the performance bond got transferred over to this one.
All right,
So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that, yeah, it's one of the conditions for 1074, 10,000 performance bond from the expired OOC for 943 shall be transferred to this.
all right.
So it's technically under 1074.
It's all right.
And if
So,
sorry about that.
no, that's fine. All right, so we'll bring that down there. All right, so now I will entertain a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for Robbie Terrace Way, Tewksbury Village Condominium, LLC, DEP file number 305943.
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The chair votes aye as well. That motion has passed. All right, and now I believe you two are back up here for the next agenda item.
Well,
We have to do,
Vote on the
we didn't
bonds.
release the performance bond yet.
That was transferred to
Yeah, it was transferred to.
DEP file number 10474.
Okay, all right.
We're going to do that now.
okay, thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, as we said before, because it had expired, we had filed a new file number, included this lot, but I believe the whole project was lumped into that new file number because you can't have two numbers on one project. So what this does too is the bond is relative to the first 6 lots. Obviously, the certificate of compliance for 7 will take the lien off the property for as far as the lender is concerned. So
All right.
any questions, we'll try to answer those too.
Any questions?
No question.
No question.
It's a little confusing, but I think we all get the
Yeah.
understanding of it. All right. I will now entertain a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for 15 Robbie Terrace Way, Tewksbury Village Condominium, LLC, DEP file number 3051074.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. That motion is passed. And now, could I have a motion to release the bond for 15 Robbie Terrace Way, Tewksbury Village Condominium, LLC, DEP file number 3051074. And I will say originally for DEP file number 305943.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. All right, and now,
The parcel land abutting the Bears, we want to get the address tonight, or has that actually been posted?
the what properties?
Parcel land abutting the Bears Street property,
Which,
those are what might have been rescheduled.
that's continued,
Yeah, they had pushed back until October 6th.
October 6th.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
7
No,
o'clock
that-
also?
Oh, continue
Yep.
to October 6th.
Thank you.
Yeah, but this is upon October 6th, isn't it? Oh, October, all right, never mind.
So this isn't the first time that we've gone over this set of property.
What
And I know it's been
property?
meetings on Dale Street
all right,
and that property behind
Is
that.
that the Ames Pond project?
I was hoping that we could bring the previous results of the other meetings that we had so that we have something to compare to. Because we've already done a lot of study. We've been studying this property for 35 plus years. I've lived there for 36 for 37 years, and this is probably the first time coming here to listen to what's being presented. So I know there's been a lot of studies done, and I'd certainly like to see the past studies compared to this one.
so we have the past study for the previous.
2011.
Yeah, from 2011. That's the only one I am aware of. But can we look into other past studies that have
Yeah.
been done for the October 6th meeting? So, yeah,
We appreciate
yeah,
it. So it's October 8th,
6th,
October 6th.
yes. 10/6,
And 10/7,
yes, it will be at 7.
and 6. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I might add on, are we at that one round?
So Thank you.
Thank you.
This one's done.
This is the one we're on right now.
Just the one we're on now. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I am a little confused about which number we're on.
So, yeah, refer to the original one now.
All right.
Now that sorry, unless you wanted to do the, sorry about that.
No problem. We just need to continue this to, we need to continue D to, or are we continuing E to?
I don't think we're at that point, Mr. Chairman. We're on
Lost.
item D, right?
So
Yeah.
if we wanted to do the RCOC that just came in last minute, if we just wanted to get that out of the way, we can, because that's this one right here.
All right.
And then we can revert back to the original.
Are you Donnie Martel?
No, that's from the old.
No,
That's-
Mill Street.
Mill Street. All right. They're not coming for this one. We can just really quickly approve.
I think someone's here, actually, yeah.
All right. You're already sitting down, so we're going to go for you. You're Mill Street. We're going to agenda item E on my latest copy. This is a public hearing continued from September 1st, 2021. Notice of intent, Norse Environmental Services Incorporated, 30 Mill Street, map 99, lot 106, DEP file number 3051140, proposed construction of a single-family dwelling. Do I have that correct?
Yes.
All right, please state your names and,
Hi, good evening. My name's Maureen Harold from Norse Environmental Services. Here with me tonight is Mr. David Hinckley. He is the owner of the lot. So we filed a notice of intent with the commission to clear and cut trees to construct a single-family dwelling, deck, driveway, rooftop infiltration, grading associated utilities within the 100-foot buffer zone and 200-foot riverfront area. The dwelling will be serviced by town sewer and water, and the erosion controls are shown on the plan. So the plan that I hand out is colored. So just real briefly, the dark green line that's shown as the A series, that's the BBW. The lighter green line shown as the B series, that's the bank of the Shawsheen River. The dwelling is proposed 77 feet at the closest point to BBW. So we do comply with the town's 25-foot no disturb and 50-foot no structure. There is an associated floodplain with the Shawsheen River that is colored as pink on the plan. We had continued the first hearing because we didn't receive any DEP number or comments at the time. Fortunately, we have that information. We have a DEP file number and no comments. And I can open it up to the commission if you have any questions or concerns.
anybody have any comments, questions, concerns?
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
No questions.
My only question or request is, I believe you state that the understory of the property has Japanese knotweed on it. That's an invasive species. Would you be opposed to clearing as much as that is possible when you're clearing the trees on this property too?
So the Japanese knotweed that I noticed is on kind of the side of the road on Mill Street, sort of close down to the river. We're not proposing to clear in that location because we're trying to limit the amount of disturbance within the riverfront area. We could certainly spray it maybe if the commission allows that.
I don't know what the best removal method is.
mooring in here.
Right,
That's from when they put in the sewer. That
okay.
was
Do you
never
have
there
any
till after that.
concerns with spraying it as opposed to whipping it?
There's some up here
Or
too.
anything else?
Certainly, anything that's within the limit of work, we're more than happy to remove and treat. That's not a problem. It was just we were trying to limit the disturbance because of the riverfront.
Yeah, my point is only that it is an invasive species. This is a perfect opportunity to clear as much of it away as possible, if you'd be amenable to that.
Okay?
All right. Any other questions, concerns, comments? All right.
I'm good. I have none.
Let me just get here. All right, and then there's
Have to
also,
change the silt fence location to clear it, probably.
I'll ask. Do you want us to change the erosion control location so we can include that within the Japanese knotweed you want us to maintain or to clear?
the erosion control is,
That's colored in orange on the plan, if you just open. I know there's a lot of lines.
and I'm colorblind, so
Oh.
I apologize.
Well, this doesn't.
All right, I should be able to tell that
include-
if given enough time.
So it
All right.
has the X.
Yeah.
The line and the X.
I would say it wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
No, it wouldn't hurt.
Okay, so we can adjust the erosion controls to include the patch of Japanese knotweed. That's not a
All
problem.
right, I appreciate that.
Sure.
And then, conditions of the conservation would issue all right, so 50-foot, no buffer zone, or I mean, no build zone. The other thing, tree brush from tree removal should be taken off-site, and silt fences should be added to erosion and sediment controls, currently not within the proposal. Did I get that correct?
Yes.
All right. All right, so.
So for these first three in the comments here, did you want to, was there certain ones that you wanted to take out or implement, or?
Mr. Chairman, before we settle on this, I think we should open up to the public.
That's a very good, totally forgot about that. All right, any members of the public, if you wish to comment, you can come up and introduce yourself and say what you will. Okay, not seeing anybody get up. All right, so, along with the standard order of conditions, we're proposing that the 50-foot no-build zone should be staked prior to tree clearing activities. Tree brush from tree removal should be taken off-site, and silt fence should be added to erosion and sediment controls.
Okay.
All right. So can I have a,
We need a motion to close the public hearing. I'll make that
you are
motion.
very true. Very-
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The chair votes aye as well. Thank you for bearing with me. I'm new to this. All right. Can I have a motion to approve the notice of intent, Norris Environmental Services, Inc., 30 Mill Street, map 99, lot 106, DEP file number 3051140, with the order of conditions previously mentioned?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, sorry, if you just wanted to do this one last and just go about this original.
Yeah, I guess
Because
that's,
that way it doesn't change.
yeah,
Same.
all right. All right, and so this next one is being continued. Can I have a motion to continue the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, civil design consultants, Incorporated, Vale Street and Cadmuck Circles, Assessor Map 112, lots 23, 87 to 94, to the next meeting on October 6th, 2021.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion with a comment that this will be the second, next meeting will be the third, and didn't we come to an agreement that we can only continue things for so many meetings?
That's a very good point.
So I'll make that motion to continue, but I would ask the agent to inform them of the rule.
So this is the first time they're continuing.
This is the second time, because we continued it from, this is a public hearing continued from September 1st, right?
No,
I mean, continued to October. Is this the first meeting for these, or second?
No, this is the first meeting for them.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yep.
And I'll just make the motion to continue, but you might want to inform them that they might
Yep.
want to show up.
Yep.
Do I have a second for that?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 The chair votes aye as well. That has passed. It will be continued. All right.
Mr. Chairman, just to give you a summary, the only reason we continued that was so that we could get the wetlands consultant to work with Marty from Moores and get on the same page. That's all. They're going out, I believe, a week from Tuesday.
All right.
So you don't have to notify him, he's aware.
We'll send you a letter.
All right. And now the next one is emergency certification, Bayberry Lane Culvert, Assessor's Map 71. Would you like to speak on this?
Sure. So I received word from our engineering department on September 7th about the partial collapse of the Bayberry Lane culvert. So the culvert consists of 4 3-foot diameter pipes, 2 of which partially collapsed, which resulted in the partial collapse of the overlying road. The DPW acted by placing metal plates over the road so that traffic can still flow safely. But I've been coordinating with a town engineer, and he's informed me that, you know, the culvert is still in disrepair. It's actively eroding itself, so it still can continue to get worse if something isn't done right away. And noteworthy for this is that they're already in design phases for permanently replacing this culvert. So this would just be a temporary fix, just placing temporary piping in the culvert until the notice of intent comes before the
All
commission.
right. Do we have any idea if that notice of intent will be accelerated or anything like that?
I don't.
We'll assume it's on schedule. at
Yeah,
least.
there was a meeting for it today.
All right.
So, but as far as whether it's accelerated now, I would have to communicate with the town engineer on that. I would imagine so.
All right.
I have one question.
Sure.
Is this a public street, a public road? The reason I ask, because it says applicant to be determined, so it's not the
Yeah,
town
so-
of Pillsbury.
It's not going to be, no. So the engineering department is working with a contractor trying to get them set up, but they're still trying to determine costs and all that, so
So it is a public road.
I would have to verify that. I'm not sure.
I would assume it would be, because the applicant would be a condominium association or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
it is a public.
Yeah.
facility, I
Right.
should say. That's all
Okay.
only questions I have. Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to ratify the emergency certification.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. It's passed. Thank you for saying ratify. I would have said approve. All right, extension request, DEP file number 3051061, 752 Livingston Street, Norse Environmental Services, Inc., map 76, lot 34.
Hi, good evening. Maureen Harold, Norse Environmental Services. So this is an interesting project. We got an order of conditions from the commission to construct a addition garage onto the applicant's property. The garage was proposed in the floodplain. Once we received the order from the commission, the building inspector at the time, I can't recall his name, the one before this one, he said that he can't give us sign off on the building permit until we get approval through FEMA. So this was 2019. So then 2020 hits and we hit a pandemic. And you wouldn't imagine trying to get a hold of somebody in the FEMA office during the pandemic. Practically impossible. Then the engineer who designed the project passed away. So it became a matter of scrambling to try and find another engineer that can adjust the plan to make the minor tweaks that FEMA wants during a pandemic. So we finally got the sign off from FEMA about 6 months ago. So we'd like to request a 3-year extension. Of course, lumber prices are through the roof right now, and so it's just been a number of unfortunate circumstances for the homeowner.
All right, yeah, that's all very understandable and unfortunate. Does anybody have any comments or questions?
No comments.
All right.
So you're within the 3 years originally anyways,
Yes,
by about a month?
yes.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that, yeah. I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
All right, and so, is this a ratification or a?
No, I'll make the motion to approve the extension request, DEP file number 3051061, 752 Livingston Street, Norse Environmental Services, map 76, lot 34.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The chair votes aye as well.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming. All right, and now we have, where's my other piece of paper? Going a little bit out of order, request for certificate of compliance, Donnie Martell Way, map 76, lot 23, Arnie Martell, DEP file number 305952. Hi.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Jim Hanley, Civil Design Consultants. So I think this is basically just a bit of paperwork that we need to clear up. 2013, we designed a 4-lot subdivision for a piece of land that was 6.5 acres. It's 737 Livingston Street. The owner at that time was Mark Ginsberg. He went in and began the roadway, built up the roadway to pavement, built the infrastructure as well as the infiltration pond, and then never constructed any of the houses. Once that was done, another person bought that project and they turned that into Jones Farm, which has been designed, reviewed, built, as-built's done, released from that order of conditions. We have the certificate of compliance for that. The attorneys were going through the paperwork. They noticed that there was an unclosed out order of conditions on the original 2013 737 Livingston Street. I scrambled today to get this done. Joe was more than helpful and willing to allow us to come here tonight. I know we're not giving you much time. I think in essence it's a paperwork thing. The as-built for Jones Farm was reviewed by DPW. A approval letter was provided. I think everything's cleared up, and we'd like consideration to issue the certificate of compliance for the original order of conditions.
Any comments or concerns?
Yeah, so I was coordinating with the attorney, I'm forgetting his name now, who had originally inquired about the RCOC. So I had done my research on this project prior to this inquiry today. But I agree with everything that he has said. It is, in my opinion, generally just an administrative procedure. The DEP file number, or the order of conditions issued later, had a subsequent certificate of compliance. There was a site visit done. There's a letter from the town engineer saying that it met substantial compliance. So I do agree that this is purely an administrative movement.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns? All right. Yeah, so I will entertain a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for Donnie Martell Way, map 76, lot 23, Arnie Martell, DEP file number 305952.
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
second? All those in favor?
Aye.
The chair votes aye as well.
Great.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Joe, thanks for your help.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Right. Now, we have request for comment on proposed affordable housing complex, 300 Ames Pond, Hanover Company. Do any commission members have any comments that they would like to discuss and submit?
I'm going through the bullet points that Joe has written up for us here. It says here the closest the project comes to the adjacent wetlands to be 25 feet.
Based on the plans that I saw,
That's, it can't be in the no-build zone. It's got to be 50 feet.
yeah, these are just my observations of the plans.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
All right.
That's
Yeah,
all.
I'm just going by what I'm saying because the ANRED was approved a while back, and if they're going through with this project.
Can I just stop you for a second?
Sure.
Can you just speak into the microphone? Can everybody, if you're going to speak, bring the up a little bit closer? Thank you.
When the ANRAD was approved, and if it does go through, I'm going to want to hold them to build within the area of which was approved. I will not have any waivers into the 50-foot no-build zone. And if they do have that, make the project smaller. So, I mean, if it's roughly 300 units, I'm not really sure. But we just determined where they could build on the property, not what they could build.
Okay.
And again, I'm not into giving any waivers for a project of this size.
Yeah, it is quite a large project, and, I mean, it's a controversial,
Well, it is. My major concern or question would be stormwater, although that's not in my purview. That's more or less the town engineer. So that would be one of my major concerns.
I agree.
And when they do file a notice of intent, I have a list of conditions.
Okay.
And some of the conditions that we put on the new building, the
Ryan School?
that school over there, yeah. And I'm sure I'll have more because of the size of the project. I just did a brief synopsis.
yeah.
But again, my major concern is, I'm not the traffic guy. Where the conservation is the stormwater. Where's it gonna go?
All right, so let me phrase this delicately. what would you like to submit to the select board as a comment about the stormwater? I completely agree with everything you said, but this is us trying to make a comment
I would just suggest that stormwater is one of the major concerns of this board.
All right, yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, rain comes out of the sky.
Yeah.
And it lands.
Yeah.
We just need to know where it lands, or where it goes to when it lands.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a major concern. Any development that comes through us, you know, people from hundreds of feet away, they're concerned that the additional roof space is now taken, or, yeah, like, it's not going to go into the ground, it has to go somewhere. They're concerned that it's going to go into their basement, and, like, you know, that's a concern of a lot of residents. I just completely agree that, you know, we need to have a good understanding about what the stormwater is going to be, where that water is going to go, you know, for this
Not just
development.
water, but you also have landscaping chemicals. There's a pond there. We don't want to contaminate that pond. You have snow removal. They put the stuff on the snow so it melts. Where does that go? That's also included in the stormwater issue.
So as part of it, we can make them conform with the MS4 permit requirements that towns have set on them. So you have to remove certain pollutants, TSS loads, things like that. Or we can tell them to get an MSGP permit as well. Either way.
I don't know what our authority is on a 40B. I've never had to deal with a 40B.
But that's kind of, those are already guidelines set that towns and cities have to meet. Or you can go with the MSGP route, where those are guidelines that private companies have to meet, or bigger sites.
Well, that's why I did the list I gave to you that we did to the school, because we need proof that says that we've done this to somebody else, and we've done it to ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, so that would be one of the areas.
Yeah, that's a standard thing that the town asks for, and I think it's reasonable that they would also do that for this project.
Right. But since this is not a public hearing for a notice of intent, we're going to have to wait until they get the notice of intent. So again, my major concern is stormwater runoff, and that's what I would ask the Board of Selectmen to address. Thank you.
And just for my notes, you said MSG permit?
So.
Will you send me that information
Yeah.
and repeat it?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. It's being recorded, so I would appreciate that. All right. Any other comments from the commission?
Joe, do you want to go over your concerns?
Yeah, aside from, you know, the outer extent of the project occurring within the 50-foot no-build, my concerns echo Pat's about stormwater. I think it would just be best to see more detailed plans as to, you know, where the buffer zones are, where exactly are impacts within the buffer zone being made, where stormwater detention basins are, things of that nature, in addition to, you know, erosion and sediment control plans, operation and maintenance plan throughout the duration of the project to ensure that, you know, any, you know, construction runoff, because that's when it's most vulnerable for impacts. So I think it would benefit us to see that. I'm not sure if they're connecting to sewer or not.
But that's the next thing, because on those plans, or the semi-plans that we have here, I noticed that there was a septic tank that's on the site. And even with the septic tank, I believe it's going to be hooked up to town sewer. Well, it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that's an existing tank.
It's an existing tank, but as far as I know, there's nothing on that property. It's just a pile of dirt, right?
Right.
So why is the tank going to be destroyed? And that's usually what the Board of Health would say, that you hook up the town sewer and you have to destroy the existing tank.
Follow Title V, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so that's another question, you
Okay.
know. And I'm sure when they come before us, we'll have a list of questions. But like Joe said, not seeing a delineated plan with a notice of intent, it's hard to judge.
So perhaps one of the comments to the Board of Selectmen could be that we would appreciate and expect a full plan.
Well, that wouldn't be up to the Board of Selectmen, that would be up to the applicant, because they go to the ZBA, but they still have to come through this board. We still have
Yes.
some control, not a lot of control.
My only point is that we are currently gathering comments for the Select Board
Right, and that's-
to present to the applicant.
Right.
So they know what our intentions are, like, that we want this, you know, we want the regular plans that we would get for anybody else. There's no reason that they shouldn't, you know,
That would
provide
come
that
with
to
a
us.
notice of intent, because I think we can insist on that.
And if they connect to sewer, we should make sure the sewer is adequately sized
Yeah.
as well. Because if it's a small road, you probably have a 6-inch maybe, and if you're building a development of this size, it could be undersized. So they might need to upgrade the trunk line going into the main road as well, potentially.
And I believe that they're going through an existing property for that stuff at least. At least the entrance is through that business park.
Yeah.
So do you have any idea what the requirements for a commercial building is as opposed to?
It depends. You do calculations based on what type of building's going in on a per-person basis. So if it's going to be occupied, if it's going to be transient, all those requirements will change. And then you have your sewer capacity, what's going into it, which will also have to be evaluated.
Yeah, my concern is that it's office park, so it's not however many people who would live there, that it might not be
It goes by
adequately
square
sized.
footage
All right,
if it's occupied by businesses.
All right.
Okay, I think the other thing we should do is, through you, Joe, there's an attorney involved here, I think. Get with him and find out what we can and what we can't do.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if everything on a 40B applies to our bylaws or state bylaws. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be sitting here saying, well, you're violating our bylaw. Well, 40B overrides that. I'm not sure. I don't know that. You know, so it would be nice to have a little synopsis of what we can do, what we can't do.
It is my understanding, though, and I will verify that based on your comment, that under the 40B, our bylaws are essentially, they can be respected, but they're not enforceable.
Right, but it could also be a request that we have that the 40B people say, okay.
Right, exactly.
They could say no, but I mean,
Exactly, yeah.
at least we could formally request it.
Yep, I agree.
And I think that's a good point, because like, everybody else complies to this, so like, I don't see why they would have trouble complying to our bylaws anyways, like, everybody else does it, it's not that difficult
But
to,
when you get into the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, it's not Tewksbury. It's a whole different
Yeah.
ballgame.
And also, I know there's larger projects that the commission has passed that involve like a project monitor.
Yes, that's one of my suggestions in the list I have.
Yeah. So that,
And the list is getting bigger and bigger.
it's been helpful for me on larger projects that they have an outside consultant that can actually communicate with me. Yeah.
On the school over there, we have a consultant, an
Yep.
environmental monitor.
Yep, I meet with him on a monthly basis too, the walkthroughs.
Okay, so let's see.
Could I get a copy of that?
Yeah, this is only a partial.
Okay.
I got to use a bigger sheet of paper next time.
I'm looking for, the copy that you gave to me, I have somewhere in this pile of papers,
okay.
but, if you need it, if another one was needed, I do
Oh,
have
okay.
somewhere.
Yep.
Somewhere.
that's all the comments or suggestions I have for now.
All right. I have a few. So the site is approximately 137 acres, and the development will be approximately 30.8 acres. I would like to see if Hanover is willing to devote the rest of the property, approximately 106.77 acres, to open space. This would be the only development on this property, and everything else would be forever open space. And there would be no more threat that, this area would get something similar in the future. Even if we need more 40B, not 40B, housing, it would be devoted to open space. So that's my first comment. All right. Second one is Hanover, and this might be a stretch. Hanover is seeking a waiver because the proposed buildings are 4 stories tall, 55 feet tall. Tewksbury bylaws maximum allowed height is 2.5 stories, or 35 feet, whichever is less. Because they are already seeking a waiver for height, would the town and Hanover be opposed to adding an underground garage or mid-ground parking garage under Building 5, which would potentially raise the height past 55 feet already? But also, we would ask them to remove the proposed parking spots between the development and Cardigan Road. This would allow for a larger no-disturb setback than the current 100-foot setback that is currently being proposed. I don't know how people feel about that. It's already, I figured because the height is already being asked for a waiver, maybe we get a little bit more of a buffer zone for Cardigan Road. 100 feet is sometimes a lot, but other times it's not really. Once you are out there walking and stuff, it's not all that much.
I think that would be up to the applicant in the ZBA to negotiate that with the applicant, but it's a good question to ask. Is it possible? Is it not possible?
Yeah.
But it's a good question to ask.
All right. So a lot of my comments are about open space. The next one, Hanover has incorporated a 100-foot no-disturb setback for Cardigan Road. Would they consider making this open space under the care of Conservation Commission? Currently, it's in their initial stuff, it just says a 100-foot setback. I don't know exactly what that means. They say it's a no disturb, but I don't think there's anything legally binding about that. And if it's open space, then that's more, you can't do anything in between that space ever, until I believe Massachusetts changes the open space laws. It's, open space forever. Would Hanover be opposed to an order of conditions that states that all tree clearing on the property must be approved by the Conservation Commission? I think there was comments about the trees and the buffer that they make for different neighborhoods, and if they're cut down, then it's going to kind of decrease the view and the buffer that those trees make. So I'm sure they're going to be cutting down trees throughout the property for this development, but in the future, getting approval from us, I think, would just be that much better, so they can't, just start clearing things away for whatever they want.
I would suggest that they're going to be able to clear the land within the 100 feet anyways. I would ask them if they would entertain something where, come to the Conservation Commission if you're going to clear anything in the 50-foot buffer zone.
All right.
That would make it, I mean, because after the 50-foot buffer zone, they're free to do
Yeah.
what they want to do. But maybe they'll be nice people and say, okay, we won't disturb anything in the 50-foot buffer zone.
All right. And then my last comment is, would Hanover be opposed to removing any Japanese knotweed and other invasive species as specified by Mass Audubon, and I have a link in this, from the 300 Ames property before construction to be monitored by the Conservation Commission / conservation agent? I wanted to ask you, is that something you're up for, comfortable with, or do you think is necessary? I guess my pet project right now is Japanese knotweed, because
Yeah.
I brought that up in another hearing, but.
So for the removal, so similar to the condition,
Yeah, just before they
Yeah.
do anything, remove invasive species.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be careful with that one because you got to be outside the 50-foot no build zone or outside the 25-foot buffer zone, because if you tell them, and now they're in the 25-foot buffer zone, and they're using chemicals or whatever they're killing it with, I'd be careful with that one.
All right.
and I'll look at the application again. Did they note Japanese knotweed within the delineation?
Don't-
The application is more or less an application to build the project versus it is what's on the property. It doesn't give us, it just says so many acres and this is the acreage that we're going to build on.
Yeah.
It doesn't give any specific species, but when they come before this board, they will have that in their notice of intent, or they should have it.
That's what I was kind of not confused about, but, they have the site, I don't know if this is the correct word. They have the site plan for what the layout will look like, but then it's kind of just that.
Yeah, yeah.
They haven't really done much else with it. I think, to me, that means that we can ask them to change a bunch of stuff, because it's just, somebody threw something together. It's not like they went out and, have done a ton of work to this property already. I'm sure they've paid architecture, firms to build, to make stuff, but I think it's very reasonable that we ask them to change the buildings if we all agree that.
Probably
I
like
don't
10%
think we
design
have,
right now.
we
Yeah,
don't,
yeah.
I don't think we have the authority to tell them they can change the buildings. That's going to be up to ZBA. Our
Again, this is only us asking
asking
the board
questions,
of,
okay.
yeah, all of these are, we're going to give this to to not the Conservation Commission, we're going to give this to the Select Board, and they are going to ask the applicant. And my understanding about 40Bs is if you ask for reasonable things, they have to provide it to you. If you ask for unreasonable things, you're probably not going to get that. So that's all I'm trying to work within this, because we know it's coming. I think everything we've said so far today is reasonable accommodations that they can make to the town. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be.
I just want to say for the tree clearing, anything within 100 feet of the wetland would have to require, there's no exemptions that would allow them to do tree clearing even within 50 to 100 feet. So we could do, I think the commission would be in their right to have it brought to their attention if any tree cutting were to happen additionally within 100 feet instead of, just 50.
All right.
So, just saying.
All right. So, the Select Board wants comments by the 22nd, so we can compile all of these and send them to the Select Board for comment. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
I'm good.
Are we allowed to make any comments about, is this public?
This is not a public hearing, so I'll leave it up to the commission. It's 8 o'clock right now. It's been an hour. I am open to limited public comment. I would suggest perhaps at most a half an hour, and like 3 minutes apiece.
You know, I'm wondering if that's true to do, but I'll tell you.
I think you can go outside the rules, and I don't even think it'll be a half hour. You're not going to be a half hour, are you? I think we should allow the public
All
to
right.
speak, even though it's not a public hearing.
Yeah.
It is a public house.
All right, I just want to set up some guidelines. This is the Conservation Commission. You have to stay on topic of Wetlands Protection Act, how it applies to this. So I know it's easy to stray, this is a hot topic, so please come up and introduce yourself and your address.
My name is Bob O'Brien. I'm at 110 Cardigan Road, some one of those Cardigan property owners that you referenced. I was going to ask a question about why you are meeting right now, or why you folks even discussing it without having any type of plan from Hanover or anybody else. All you have is pictures of buildings planted on property. And I agree with you, your role is to discuss the property it's going on, and anything else beyond that is beyond your level of responsibility. So, but I think you kind of mentioned it. I know the town manager is looking for input from all committees by September 22nd. And I appreciate you doing that. But the question is, don't be frightened by the term 40B. It seems like, 40B, 40B, 40B. You folks should do your good work, whether it's 40B, 20C, anything else. Just do your do work and don't worry about it being 40B. Your job is to, in my opinion, is to uphold Conservation Commission bylaws, which are a derivative of the state wetland protection acts. That's what 40B requires, that's what 40B is, so don't be frightened by 40B. The other thing is, you're putting a list together, because I've been involved in from a butters group with the Board of Selectmen and Town Management, so please, and I don't hope the town is going through it, you don't want to give Hanover the test answers before you create the test. So you're saying, let's give them something they think they'll accept. No, I dispute that. Tell them what you feel that site needs, hand it to the Board of Selectmen, and they will pass it on to Hanover, and Hanover will say, yes, no, yes. And if the ZBA supports your position, Hanover has a right to appeal it through mass housing. But don't let them change the good work you guys have done on every other site in town or any other site you'll do in the future. As a matter of clarification, that site is, you said 130 acres, okay. 85 acres of that is the pond. That's 85 acres of the pond. There's 30 acres, the parcel they want to build on of 300 Ames Pond Road is 30 acres. 10 acres of that is rock, and it's some type of dirt, woodcraft or some dirt that is not actually recommended to build on. Look at the soil content. Look at the type of soil. The other part of the other 20 acres are tremendous wetlands. It's all wetlands. So there's 30 acres that you don't need a bathing suit on to access it. The rest of it's the pond. And of the 30 acres, 20 is wetlands, and 8 of those acres are in Andover. So it's for you. So if you guys have whatever information you're given in terms of 30 acres, yeah, the total parcel counting the pond is 30 acres. The other thing is there are issues with the height of buildings. That's not your guys' level of responsibility. I appreciate that. Hanover has agreed to give us a minimum 100-foot buffer, undisturbed buffer, between our property backyards on Cardigan until when they start their work. So that's all I have right now. You know, the 100-foot wetland buffer, the 25-foot no zone bone, you know, if that's what our town's bylaws require, don't even think about modifying that for Hanover. I mean, you guys are here to serve the public, and I know you will. You're not here to serve Hanover. They're a big, large, multinational company, and they're looking at you know, cash and revenue opportunities in Tewksbury. So let's not give up the farm that easily and start saying, let's give them something they like. No, give them what the rule is and what you feel the town needs. So, and then if there's something they don't like, they have an opportunity to negotiate it with the selectmen and the ZBA, possibly whatever. But don't lower your standards. Just keep up your good work that you do all the time. And if I wanted to build you know, a property somewhere else or add on to my house, you wouldn't say that, hey, we consider this guy different than that guy. No, they're an applicant, whether it's 40B and nothing else. Please don't let it, again, sway or make you think differently about doing your good work. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming up and speaking. Anybody else?
Good evening, Craig Spinelli, 140 Cardigan Road. I had a question about stormwater runoff. I know they're asking for a waiver to go within the 50-foot buffer to 25 feet, but that's quite a lot of hard surfaces being put out there. I think the parking space is 460 plus parking spaces. That water's going to go somewhere. So my question is it allowed to flow into the pond? And if it is, that pond is privately owned, which the dam at the end of the pond, before it dumps onto Kendall, is also privately owned. Is there anybody on, whether it's this commission or somebody else, that does any kind of study on how much water that pond can accept from runoff before the dam could be jeopardized?
Joe, the town engineering department will, I'm assuming, do studies on that. Is it Kevin Hardiman who would?
So for large development projects, in my experience, it's been the consulting engineer provides like hydraulic studies on how the water's going to flow, and based on that, they determine their stormwater system. Whether it's going to discharge into Ames Pond, I don't know, because nothing has been presented to us. But yeah, normally it's consulting engineer develops a stormwater plan, our town engineer reviews it, provides comment. So.
And I just want to say, the town engineer is really good, always has very thoughtful and like, you know, it's not please change this, it's you shall change this. There's, you know, no two ways about it. The things I've read, you know, their letters and stuff, they do know how to command you know, certain things from an applicant, and it's not, this would be nice, this would be, you know, useful. It's really, I appreciate the work that he does, and or they do and stuff. So.
Well, I appreciate that. Just being a privately owned pond and dam, I didn't know if the town got involved. So appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just make one more statement? No one wants to get up? No.
The public has spoken.
Well, I have one question, and one of your chief concerns is wetland protection issues, and I appreciate that. We feel the same way. The water got to go somewhere. But I just want to make you aware that the water that runs through all those little streams and tributaries, there's tons of them out there. It's called the Meadow Brook, and it goes all the way down to the Shawshene and Wilmington. But the point I want to make is that water if it's the right word, the aquifer process, that water feeds our former town wells that are now inactive because we get our water from the Merrimack River. But I heard last night that our water from the Merrimack River has a high level of contamination of some type of ingredient or chemical, whatever, that they're trying to correct. But in the event that water the Merrimack River is not usable for a day or week, we're gonna need those former town wells to support our town. And if the water runoff is redirected and changed, it's not gonna be filling those former town wells. To me, that is our backup water supply because that's part of the Merrimack River Basin. So that fills what I think should be our backup water supply, the old town wells. In case the Merrimack River, you know, it's whatever flows down from Lowell, what we get, with all this rainfall and stuff, it's there's contamination in there. So but it does feed our old former town wells, and I don't suggest we do anything to violate or shut those old wells down because of this project. So thank you.
Appreciate that. All right. Where's my agenda?
I don't think we'll ever use the backup wells. Those are, you know,
Yeah.
they're not, we've covered in two of them at Emerald Court. That's we bought the property. And that was all well field, but, you know, all those, everything's all, we'll never go back to the wells.
Yeah. All right. All right. So this is a request for comment on proposed affordable housing complex. It's not a public hearing. I don't think we have to vote on anything. So I will move on to old business. Anybody have any old business?
None.
Any new business?
None.
New business, I will say we might have to update the way we do the agendas. Open meeting law might say that we have to provide a little bit more information on potential new business, but I don't think we can do that if we don't know any new business. So I just ask the commission that if you do have new business, present it to either me or Joe to put onto the agenda as new business before the meeting. Don't wait until the actual meeting to bring up new business. Get it on the agenda. All right, administrators report.
Can I go back to new business?
Oh,
Speaking
sure,
of that?
yeah.
Joe, were you able to go down South Street to like 1020, that project they're doing? There's like no erosion control or anything?
No, I was on a training all day.
1015 or 1020, right around there, you'll see it. It's a Tewksbury project. I think there's like a small brook that goes underneath the road.
Okay.
I haven't seen any erosion control.
Sewer connection or something. No, there is no erosion control, but I think it's a town project probably.
It is.
So I'll communicate with you about, typing up comments, and I'll probably send out an email prior to sending it to the selectmen, just so everyone can be in agreement that whatever I send is kosher with.
Okay.
In addition, I just wanted to clarify for the emergency certification, the engineering department is still like trying to determine like what contractor to use and what the start date is. So although it can be ratified, I'm going to issue it once they give me the start date. Okay. Once the work's going to begin, that's all.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, so it's been approved, it's been approved, but you will issue it when the time comes.
Right, because there's a 30-day time limit on emergency certification work.
All right.
So that's why I don't want to start it right now, because they're still in the preliminary phases of. So it's not like a traditional emergency certification, because.
And
kind
if
of
it expires, I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty simple to issue.
Okay.
All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. This meeting has concluded. Next meeting is October 6th, 2021. So, yes, that's it.
Forward to the same spot.